beautiful we are.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed that. When Patty got here, we were both just like, it's been one of those mornings, and I'm sure you can all relate. The mum juggle is real. The superwoman juggle is real.
Yes.
It's
crazy.
I love music for that, for helping to just shift.
Yeah, because I'm shifted.
You're shifted,
yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
So I have the beautiful Patty here with me today. I don't know, some of you might remember that we attempted a naked TV episode, which I'm telling you was mind-blowing. Like, you guys missed out on some of the most epic content. Like, we blew our own minds. It was one of my favorite, I don't know if I could call it a podcast, but one of my favorite coaching sessions I'd ever done. And for whatever reason, the sound wasn't working, and so no one got to hear the content. So I'm really excited to have Patty here today. We are going to get juicy and intimate. That's why we wanted to keep this closed for you. Patty, when did we meet? I'm trying to think. Our first meeting, was it? We knew each other. Was it the house?
No, I knew of you from years ago.
So Patty joined us in one of our NHC filming sessions. Yes, she's done our beautiful dance session, which you guys can access in the NHC program. And I was just so captivated by your energy, your, and you know what it is? It's the freedom that you can see in your spirit, which I feel for many women is very magnetic, because a lot of women, they're so stressed and juggling so many things that there's an internal friction and tightness that flows into all areas of our lives, including our businesses. And when we can learn to let go, to be free, to open up, to self-express in more sensual, feminine, flowing, freeing ways, we become magnetic in every area of our lives. And in fact, I guarantee that if you look at some of the most successful people, just to relate it back, because these are our Juice Plus people, the ones that you are really magnetized to are the ones who have a lot of that energy. And that's why they're able to build business success. So can you maybe start by sharing the work that you do and why you do it, and then we'll delve into
why do I do it. I started, I think, 10 years ago, and I used to sell Tupperware. I think I told you this, huh? So I used to go into people's homes, and I could read the energy between the husband and wife, because the wife essentially is trying to get rid of the husband to take the kids out so she can have this, perfect Tupperware party. And then I would have parties, and the ladies would get drunk and then talk about their sex life and what was, and it blew my mind, some of the stuff that would come out, like, because they would use sex as a transaction rather than an interaction. They would literally sell themselves so they could get things. And I'm like, what the hell? So I would give them tips. So I'd be at this Tupperware party selling plastic, and I would basically give them tips on how to connect to their partner. And I just thought that's what most people do. I booked a lot of parties, so it wasn't for the Tupperware. And then that's when I started to do coaching, and just went in and did my training there. And now I'm studying psychology. I don't really enjoy it, but that is so I can get into schools, because I would really want to, change the whole way sex education is taught to, to our young youth. I do have 4 sons, and then even getting the parents from the schools in as well. That's my dream, to do that. Then I wouldn't have these clients, that are pretty broken after failed relationships and stuff. Why I do it, I think it's because I suppose my own parents had a failed relationship, and opposite. My mum was like religious nutter, is, and so just so many rules. And my dad was, I love both of them, but my dad was a slut, and I just I know most people wouldn't admit that, but he was so bad. And we would kind of, I suppose, our whole pain would be, everyone would know that him and his brothers were, basic sluts, and we would have jokes about it, and I would speak openly about it, and ask my dad why he was such a hoe, and just like have these real conversations at like 15 to understand my dad, but also to understand my mum. So I've had both ends of the pendulum, so I can see people. I see where they're like, holding themselves back because of how they've been brought up, or religion, or culture, especially
Yes.
culture is a huge thing.
That's such an
Yeah.
incredible point, because not only have we had, this side of our lives and our spirits modeled to
Yeah.
us potentially by our parents,
Yeah.
which typically, and this is not for everyone,
Mm.
was more of kind of an uptight era,
Yeah.
which we're now seeing
It's gone to the other end of the pendulum.
backflip,
Yeah.
which is, to my values,
Yeah.
so this is not a judgment,
Yeah.
an over exploitation
Oh,
of
it is.
themselves, which to me is not feminine.
No.
And there's so much confusion and confliction within us on who we should be for
Yeah.
our partner, but
Yeah.
most importantly, I think starting with our relationship with ourselves and how we feel about ourselves.
Oh, amen to that. It is a lot easier when people, yes, you're very right, but what people do is they tend to try and find a partner to help them find themselves instead of finding themselves first.
Yes.
But, and I totally agree with the whole fact is, people are out there exploiting themselves. It's because they're trying to get accepted. They've been pent up for so long, and it's that spring that's loose, and they're just. And I must admit, when I first started, I think I would have had huge amount of shock value, the stuff that was coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I would see people just, in that bubble of just ignorance.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to shake it up like a snow globe and shake the fuck out of them to
Yes.
see, but it's not I realize they'll come to me when they're ready.
Yes.
So
And
no more
I
shaking.
think that goal is to find that openness in your spirit and that sensuality and that femininity, which doesn't equal exploiting yourself. They're two very different things. You can do that, but actually be very close. And I've done a lot of reading over the years, and I really believe that a woman's ability to experience pleasure, and I don't just mean sexually, I mean in all ways, and to allow that to flow through her and to have that freedom and that movement within her body is directly linked to her creative potential.
Oh yeah, this is our creative zone, our womb space. We create babies there. Everything's there. So if you're literally dry, that could mean everything. There's no way to create. Or if you're exhausted, or if you're doing things for everyone else, or you're not putting yourself first. I put myself first, I think about 10 years ago, even when I was on this, and my first audience was my children. And they struggled with it. They would, even my sons would call me selfish. I was like, thank you. Because they could see that I'm actually putting myself first. And now I can see that they're actually doing that. So they're not being that, savior syndrome or whatever that, because they're putting themselves first. I'm going to get a tissue because my nose hurts.
Oh, good. So today's discussion is, we really want to inspire you, and hopefully you're already on that journey, but how you can just light yourself up in this area of your life so that all areas of your life expand and light up. So we kind of, wrote down some different things that we might cover, but I don't want to eat into your time too much. I want to kind of just let you flow and we can see.
I love your input. I remember the first time I came and you go, you were basically speaking exactly how I do. I'm like, why aren't you teaching this? So I think, eventually you will, because, we've had these conversations off camera. It's just, and that's even in this call, is my intention is for people to shine the light on themselves, women, I guess if it's just women on here, and being okay with it, giving that full permission slip to be everything that they want to be, with no fucks given.
So so let's start the conversation with how can women bring more passion and love and joy and openness to the relationship with themselves in order to bring more of those things to their intimate relationship and life?
I always say have a real conversation. So I don't know if you knew the acronym for denial is didn't even know I was lying.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's not mine.
Didn't even know I was lying. That's where a lot of the problems in our relationships start, is we are lying to ourselves. Therefore, how can we stand in our truth in our relationships?
And so I'm all about questioning everything, not to the point where you can drive people crazy, but question it for yourself. I was brought up religious, a Jehovah's Witness. And we didn't celebrate Christmas. Now I'm cool now, I celebrate Christmas, but the difference between most people that celebrate Christmas is do you know why you celebrate Christmas? So I'm going to give you an example. When was Christmas? When was Jesus born? I actually ask those questions, and I do research because I love history. but most people just like, well, because my parents had Christmas. I was like, yeah, but why do you celebrate Christmas?
Yeah.
Do you know what Christmas is about? Like actually asking questions. And I think when you bring that into your relationship, just ask your why. Like, why are you doing this? So if you have an argument and you get triggered as fuck in something, like stop and go, well, why am I triggered? Like, what did he say, or what did I say, and what did I react? And when you start picking apart why you're doing the things that you do, then you can start being real. But the first one is denial.
Yes.
So stop being lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And get really clear.
And with those, what often happens is when we feel triggered, there is this anchored in response from our reptilian brain to our emotional center, and as women it's very well ingrained. And these
a highway.
It's a super highway. And this has been so well trodden through the years that often the way that we are reacting is this automatic response that isn't even relevant to the thing your partner did. It just brought up a memory on how you responded to something that happened in the past. So you're making your partner suffer as well as yourself for something that is actually not relevant to for a pain that isn't relevant to the present moment.
So how I would have a conversation, even on the pleasure center, there is the heart conversation. So this is an example of,
hopefully you guys have your worksheet method.
Is when you are feeling triggered, it is I find a real easy conversation to have, because it's been practiced for me, but it's like, the I feel. So whatever's blowing up in your face, it's like, so you actually have to ask permission to have a conversation with your partner.
Let me just highlight that.
Not just go in.
Yes. This is one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the relationship coaching course I just did, is as women, we feel compelled to just share our emotions and he should receive. He should be ready to receive. When you can learn some grace and some inner pause, there are times where I've had to wait 48 hours to have the discussion with my partner that I feel I need to have. Because we have consciously communicated when is a good time that he's going to be able to be receptive. Because if I get him in a moment where he's not, then it doesn't cause it. All it does is cause disconnection. He's not going to hear it. He's not resourceful. He's, and so it's being mindful about the right times. And the language that you use as well, and making a request rather than a demand.
So obviously all my conversation is going to lead to sensual sexual pleasure. So when it comes to having that conversation, like say if you had sex with someone, your partner, and you didn't like something, you wouldn't say it straight away just after you've had sex with them, because it's not the right time.
Worst time ever.
Yeah, but I know 90% of women would.
Yes.
Yeah, or they would say nothing and their whole body shrivels up. So it would be a conversation, like you would get dressed and you would go, hey, even having date nights to talk about this stuff. But that's when you would actually ask permission to have a conversation.
And what do you think often about, rather than expressing what you didn't like, unless there is a real solid outcome that is going to cause you to build connection through doing so, which usually isn't going to be the outcome with a man, focusing on what you want and what you like.
So that's just stating desires. But the thing is most people need an example of what you've experienced, because they don't have any idea where your brain is at, and they don't know, well, his experience and your experience is totally different. So that would be the I feel. It's like, this is what happened when I was in this experience. I'm not quite sure what you were or what you were thinking. But let's get it very clear though. I'm talking about arguments, not sex right now, but I'm talking about, something that you totally disagree with, or you're triggered and you've asked permission for this conversation. So you sit down and so you would thank them. It's like a feedback sandwich. It's so simple, but you would thank them for giving you the time. And also following it up. So when you ask permission, I'll say, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? I mean, that's most what guys will want to say. And like, oh, I need to share a few things that are going on for me. For me, and I just would love your feedback. So you're in the right frame, that he's not going to feel like he's that little boy that's been picked on. And then you have an audience that you can actually express where you're at, and then it shouldn't be practice, but you should have a really good idea of where you would like to go and how you would like to be heard. So that's like setting the intention, what you want at the end of the conversation. But also, it's not about picking the person apart, because most people have their inner child work that they're still working through. So that all they're going to hear is someone that's going to be, making them wrong. So
it's that perspective and compassion.
And it's the language, using the right language.
Because your partner is usually in the best intentions for you.
Yeah.
And a man perceives things completely differently to a woman.
Yeah.
So blaming and shaming as if he's consciously done something wrong is never going to end well.
Well, it's not. Yeah. Because then he'll, if he's not super conscious, then he'll start using ammo about something that you may have done, and then the fight is on. Yeah, and then bitch go wild. Yeah. So we want to literally, we want to avoid that. So, using really clear language and being super clear, but because you've already got your denial stuff worked out, so you know where you're at. But also, if you're sort of still feeling like you're unsure, then that's where curiosity comes into it. Yeah, like, so this is how I'm feeling. Yes, that's a turn on for me. And I'm like, I'm curious, like, this is how I'm feeling. But like, when I saw you and your face was doing this, I kind of like, were you at this state? I don't know what was going on for you. Like, can you share what was going on? And remember, most men are not real big talkers. So we've got to try and, like, even now when I'm explaining, I'm taking a long time to explain it. To me, when you're talking to a man, it needs to be more concise.
And that's what I was going to say, is that when you ask permission for when the right time would be, let him know that it's not a big deal and it's not going to be a long conversation, but then you need to honor that in your language and your time. Yeah. And secondly, a man, you will be expressing yourself and you will really be feeling what you're saying. Yeah. And your inner child is going to be looking for this connection of feeling and being seen and being heard. Men typically are unable to feel and think. No. And so allow the information to land with him, and then expect he is going to need time and space to compute what you said and to relate it back to his own feelings. If you expect that response in the moment, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. Yeah. They generally need to go away before they can express themselves with any kind of emotion. Yeah. And that is one of the biggest disappointments and expectations that women set men up to fail for. Yeah,
all the time. And also, though, make sure that you sort of state to him that please honour the time that you want him to come back, because sometimes people will just go, oh, it's past now, and just sweep it under the rug. But you need to hold it accountable, and also he needs to honor that as well. So if he says, look, I need a day to sort of really understand where you're coming from, and then ensure that you both come back in the day, that it's not just swept under the rug, because then that's when women can build up resentment. And
do you think it's a good idea we have this commitment in our relationship where 2 to 3 times a week we have these 5-minute time slots? So then it's not a big deal. It's that there's always a moment every week where we're going to be able to discuss what's working, what we can work on, and it's not like this. Basically, I've been able to train Danny to expect it to be a connective experience rather than, oh, fuck, she wants to talk again.
Yeah, exactly.
What have I done wrong this time?
Exactly. But that's when I started talking about that, I talked about date night. So if anyone's done the Barefoot Investors work, he talks about date nights, financial meetings. So as a couple, you need a financial meeting, you need to have an emotional meeting, and definitely lots of sex meetings. Yeah. But because we are busy, if I always suggest, if people could suggest in those 3 for the week, then like the sex is taken care of, or the connection, your finances are taken care of, and then the emotions are taken care of. So that's, if you can do that, like you said, 3 times, but 3 different topics, then you are stay connected. But and you know what, like, I know a lot of people go, what you organise to have sex once a week? But it should be at least once a week or once a fortnight. What I said is creating your ideal sexual relationship. But it needs to be scheduled in at least once.
What would you say to women? Because this is really important. And I've always been quite well connected in that part of my life. Yeah. And
she's a sex killer.
But to me, it is important to me and fulfilling to me, and it makes me sad when women, and I understand the reasons why. There are many reasons, and I just honor the trauma that all women go through to a degree, and some experience more, that causes that part of them to close down. And I have experienced many moments where my own heart and body closes down. It's just that I am so committed to healing and moving through that. So a lot of the women on here, maybe they've been in their relationship for a lengthy period of time. There's been kids. I know the second birth of my daughter was very traumatically, physically traumatizing, which took 12 months to heal from. And that was probably the biggest hurdle in my life sexually. But as I said, I it's such an important part of my life that I did the work necessary to move through that. So for the women who potentially are feeling stuck, closed, frustrated, their needs haven't been met for potentially feeling like months and years, and that there is this gap in their relationship where it's not something that's regular or that they feel fulfilled in. What would your advice be? I know it's a big question.
No.
Where would they start? Well, open back up to the possibility of that being amazing.
So I was going to work on the intimacy, the central plan, but damn it, it's coming that we've got to get heart. No, I mean, damn it, like I have to listen to the peeps that knock on my, it's a heart conversation, so we'll go there. So when you say, well, how do they start? Because, I've just working with a guy that was in a relationship for 8 years, and she left him by post-it note. But when he was telling me, one of the things was they hadn't had sex for like 5 years, and I've known this guy for a long time, and I said to him, but you love sex, like what in your life did you choose to make that not, it's not a priority anymore? And he goes, well, I just thought that it would happen. I'm like, 5 years, dude. And he goes, yeah, but the time just snuck away. So there are couples that don't have any sex in their relationship, or when they do, it's like wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and a woman's left just feeling like she's a dumping station. And so these are all different scenarios, but I'm going to pull it back to like having a heart conversation. So again, the whole denial, like what is it that you want? So like if you can write in your little thing or in your worksheet, like what is it that you want? Because what I want sexually, or and to connect to a man, might not be what you want. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you might like a man that will do the dishes after you cook, and that is sexy as fuck to you. You know, like I prefer a guy to cook. I can cook, but I like cleaning up. Whatever. But I can cook. But I would prefer that we would be in the kitchen together. He's like the master chef and I'm his sous chef. So, and that to me is a turn on for me when a man does that, because he's putting his love into a thing. So it starts way back for the bedroom. So if you can get really clear about what it is that you want to feel as a woman, like how do you want to feel with your partner? Like, because all you can sort of list now is everything that just pisses you off. And everything that you're tired for. And I'm giving you 100% validation that you have all the right to feel like that. It's hard work being a mama and having a business and getting your sexy on and like trying to, stay fit.
And we've been having these conversations around how that depletes oxytocin. And in order to climax, you need high oxytocin and high estrogen. And so all of the work we've been doing on stress, ladies, leading into this conversation is completely relevant here, because for this to be fulfilling and satiating, you need to drive up your oxytocin levels, and you need to request the activities he can do to drive your oxytocin levels up. And if he understands what the gain is on the other side, he will happily do those things. And the truth is, if you've had an unfulfilling sex life for some period of time and you're feeling unsatiated and that it's predominantly about him, again, the truth is he's not innately trying to be selfish. He wants to please, but men need to be, I hate using the word trained, but they need instructions. In what you like. What you like is going to be completely different to us potentially. Your body is very different. And so we need to empower ourselves to know our own bodies and what we like, and have that freedom in ourselves before we can even request it from our partner.
Exactly. And that's
but what an exciting journey and adventure for them to go on together.
It is. Like, so if anyone watches Netflix, I highly recommend that you go and watch the Love Sex Goop.
Mhm.
because so that's with another sex intimacy coach. She's world renowned, and she's working with Gwyneth Paltrow. So what it is getting couples that really want to connect. So honestly, you have to have a foundation that actually love the person.
Yes.
That you're actually willing to do the work, even if you might have resentment, which can look like hate.
Yeah.
But if he was to die tomorrow, you'd be devastated. That's how I'm really honest.
Disclaimer, obviously, but I feel I always have to say, because someone will mention it, we're not talking about abusive relationships where this man does not deserve your time and commitment.
Yeah. Like, I do a lot of work with domestic violence, and that's, to me, is just that's just a no-go zone. So obviously that you really want to be with him, then start doing the work, and that would come to a heart conversation. So when you get clear about what you want to experience, then that's when you can basically approach your partner and just say, hey, I am just acknowledging that our relationship, our sexual relationship, is not as, it hasn't been put as a priority. I feel it hasn't been put as a priority, and I've sort of and I'm getting really clear with what I would like to enjoy with you, and then ask him for, like, well, what does he feel? And he's just going to go, oh my God, we're talking about sex. Do you know what I'm saying? And then that's where the dialogue can start, when you're having these real conversations. And ladies, please do not be sensitive or overly sensitive to anything that he may say, because, as Kira said, they're very direct, so they're not making you wrong. You've actually opened this conversation, and so just welcome, what they're saying. If you don't understand something, get clear, get curious, and go, so what do you mean by that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, well, what is it that you like? Women have come to me that they don't even, they don't know how to suck cock, right? And like, I love it. But I actually asked my mum when I was 15, I was like, Mum, do you blowjobs is the word I use? I said, Mum, do you do blowjobs? Now, she was religious, and she just about had a connection. She was like, what? That is just such a sin. And she said, you can't reproduce babies doing that, because sex to them was all about reproduction. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I get that. But so you don't do it then? And she's like, oh, Patty, shaking her head. It was like a thing she would always do. Now, when women actually approach me and say that, I'm like, well, you don't have to. If that's not exactly what you want to do, if you don't like doing that act, then don't do it.
And I think as long as you can be clear on your values and why, and that you dive into, is there a trigger? Because I feel like for a lot of women, it's the transactional thing, is that their needs are not being met, and so that's the ultimate service. And so, for me, especially when I'm feeling satiated, to me it's something so empowering and so beautiful.
Oh my God, but the power's actually in you.
100%.
But women don't know that.
But you can see how easily a woman would shift into fuck you mode.
Exactly.
Like, I've been serving you all day. That is the last thing that I feel like doing.
But exactly. But I'm getting clear, because the couple have already started having these real conversations about what they like and what they don't like. And then if a woman is just like, as I said, when I did Tupperware parties, they talked about, blowjobs, and they would do so they could receive something. And I'm like, well, that's not the way, that you're not honouring him.
And that's
what
I would love to say is like, imagine, what if you have these beautiful heart-centered conversations and that you open your heart back up to the possibility of going first. And not giving to receive, but just energetically, the more you open, men's hearts open through sex, and this is something. This is again coming to our biology. Women's hearts need to open before sex in order to experience the depth and their potential. A man's heart opens through sex and after sex. So if you're withholding sex, not only is it harming you, but it will not work for him in a relationship. And I don't make the rules. I'm not God. I apologize, but it is a primary need of men. And if you continue to withhold it, what you're talking about is get clear with what your ultimate outcome is. If your outcome is to have a deeply connected and fulfilling relationship, you have to explore and open up to this.
So which means a woman has to allow herself to be seen, which is really hard, and to be vulnerable. I mean, the way
and that
to
can
have,
be a lot of personal healing work to even get to these conversations for some women.
because like, you know, like if you don't like having sex with the light on, or if, you know, there's all these lists, like I would literally, you know, on the reflections, on your reflections down here is write everything that you do not like about sex or that you've experienced. So we'll go back to the head job.
Yeah.
One thing that for a woman to seriously honor herself, because when you're in the right energy, as you were saying, it is actually, you have the power.
Yes.
Because basically you are worshiping this cock and he's in awe of you. Now, to bring it back though, how it has been, you know, literally used for a transactional, you know, situation is because, you know, men in porn see heads, they grab the head of the woman to put it down there. That's just like so wrong on so many levels, and that comes back to you honoring, you know, your boundaries and how you want to be treated. And you would literally say to them, take your hand off my head. And like be, you know, with such not bitch mode, but with such queen energy get it off my head. And they will never do that again. But you need to be firm with that. So these are the kind of stuff when it comes to heart conversations, is to be able to have these real requests or like real clear boundaries about what you will not tolerate. Obviously, if you're role playing and you're a role playing hooker, then go for golf. That's a whole different conversation. Yeah, but do you feel me?
Yeah, I do feel you.
So I want, you know, ladies to get really clear on about what do you want to experience. You know, for instance, you know, do you know what part of your body is you just go crazy? Some, you know, the erogenous zones is like, do you know what yours is? Mine are my breasts, and mine are my back of my neck and the lower back of my back.
I don't know if this is TMI. There's only 29 people I'm being TMI with.
No such thing as TMI. What the fuck?
But in this new relationship, we have such a depth of intimacy and connection spiritually that everything's on another level. And I have now been able to experience multiple orgasms just through nipple stimulation, like, which is just like,
well, because that's the amount of the amount of result. Oh my god, this makes me go a little bit tingly. It's equal to your pussy, like it actually that, because if you think about breastfeeding, it stimulates oxytocin in order for us to bond with our babies. So when we're no longer breastfeeding, nipple stimulation is still one of the quickest ways to stimulate oxytocin, which is needed in order to climax. And so some of the ways, I know, I just want to reference, because Renelle was vulnerable here saying, you know, she's really feeling this since having a newborn again. Oh, perfect. Let's talk to that. I feel you. Because breasts are my, like, baby. They become food rather than sexual pleasure. And so my, is it, what's her name? Is it Renelle? Just gonna have to be patient. So when you are breastfeeding, the energy will have to be just for your son or your new baby. It's too hard to flip between being a lover and a mother with your breast. So what I did is, when I did have 4 children, is my boobs were a no-go zone while I was breastfeeding. I breastfed each of them for 10 months, and then I was just like, I'm done. I want my breast back.
I want sexy time back.
But I mean, I had sex, but I was like, my boobs need to be touched, and I was just like, So that's how I coach. As long as you do whatever you need to do, but it is literally impossible. And I know that the reason I put up that boundary was because when my boobs were touched during sex, they would just spray milk. Like, not a turn on.
Which took you out of
so it literally would take me out of the zone. So it was just like, well, these were no-go zones until I'd finished breastfeeding. I don't know how mums do it that are, 3, 4. I'm like,
One of the other things I find interesting, which I think would be really good for relevant to Renelle and anyone with little ones, or actually any woman, this is relevant to any woman. One of the best ways for a man to increase oxytocin in order to get you in the mood, because I always have had kind of this non-negotiable thing in my relationships, is that I don't say no, and I'm honoring myself, but this doesn't need to be your value, by the way. But within a few minutes of saying yes, I always end up in the mood. Surrendering to it and to the touch and to the and that's all about training your man of what feels good to you that relaxes your body.
Exactly.
When our stress is high and our oxytocin is low, it can take 15, 20 minutes to get things flowing. One of the best ways to spike oxytocin is through non-sexual touch. where you don't feel the pressure of sex, but this actually leads to sexual touch because now your body is relaxed, your oxytocin is high, now you feel like it. So just speaking to you, Renelle, that might be one way where, whether it's once or twice a week or 3 times a week, maybe you schedule it, maybe it's a commitment together, an open heart conversation where he is just going to spend 15 minutes on non-sexual touch. And if it moves you into desire,
then do it.
But that there's no expectation on you. But one of the things I did after Madeline, when I had that experienced for the first time, that gap in desire, is we actually made a commitment to have sex every day for a month. And I tell you, 3 days in, I was addicted to sex. The more you do something, sometimes it's just getting back into the habit. Again, that may not work for you, but it worked for us.
And that's why, like, when it comes to creating your ideal sexual relationship, is like, how much do you value it? Which you obviously valued it that much, but it would be like going to the gym. Like, you know, I was always hit and miss. Now I just love it. You know, I'm probably going 5 times, and then and I love it because it's that addiction that I've got for it. And the same, and these are good addictions, by the way.
Because, and this is the thing, you may not value it highly, but if you want a soul connected, intimate relationship, then you have to be honest and come out of denial that those two don't match. So are you going to forego the depth in connection, or are you going to raise your vibration and open up to possibility?
And so the non-sexual things, because I know a lot of guys will go, can I massage you? And then a wife will like, oh, that means he wants to have sex. So immediately it will be like no, it's okay, I'm fine. Instead of him just saying, hey babe, I'll run you a bath.
Big one.
Like, if you like baths, obviously. I'll run you a bath, go and have a bath, I'll get the kids done, and then we'll have a wine or something after the bath, and we'll just chat. And then, you know, while you're sitting there having wine, his job would be to, you know, to do touch, you know, so I'm going to touch you. But you know, just even touching your leg and stroking your hair, whatever, because you've already got clear about what you want to experience, and then you've told him, instructed him, taught him, educated him, then he knows what to go, you know,
you've got to release the resentment of like, well, if I had to tell him, it doesn't count.
Oh no, that is so old school.
You need to be told, and you will not get what you want if you're not willing to express and communicate. And even if he needs to put notes in his phone or set reminders and alarms, his brain is not wired like ours. He needs the reminder.
I don't know who the hell came up with that stupid theory that they...
Oh, look, I remember feeling it in the past. Well, if I had to tell you that it doesn't count, look, I've said that dumb shit in the past.
Okay.
Before enlightenment, there's a beautiful question here.
Okay.
Where was it? So Renelle said, yes, thank you. It's such a commitment from me. This is a really big one, so I think we should address it. She finds it hard to receive. It's very big for women. Our whole life is centered on giving and service, and it's hard. And it's actually the man's job to penetrate and the woman's to receive, and that's something that women find hard to relax into. So.
Well, that question is a little bit. I'm going to say receive sex, but also for women to receive oral sex. I'm going to go there. Like, so for a woman to get eaten out, that's just the language I use.
I love you.
Okay, so that's how I say receive. Okay, so the thing is, it comes back to, you know, you're going to write down everything you don't like about sex, everything you don't like about your body, and then you're going to get clear, because then it's a starting point where you can start loving on yourself. So, for instance, I guess everyone's had kids on this.
I would say that almost all.
Your pussy gets a fucking beating. Like, we have to push. I don't know if I've seen a video of my pussy. I got my sister to record it, and I'm like, what the hell?
Get her to record it.
It was this big, huge ass head coming out, and I was like, God, you know, so that your pussy's like that, where it's kind of meant to be like that, and it's just like, what the hell? So I use humor, but it's just like, it changes. It changes. And then you, like, even before you had kids, you might have had self-hatred about your pussy because of how we've been brought up.
Oh, there's so much BS, like, you know, photoshopping and all of this, you know, perfected expectation. And that's...
So I'm going to get you ladies, when it comes to receiving, so I'm just going to assume that that's what you're talking about, because most men would love to go down on you, is like, do some mirror work. So you literally pull out a mirror and look at your pussy, and you start picking out all the things that you actually love about it. So for me personally, I've got like 3 different colors on my pussy. And I just fell in, you're right, darling? I literally fell in love with it. So to me, it's like a painting. But, you know, back in the day, I had a partner that made fun of my my married girl nipples, because I got dark nipples. And I'm like, oh, they should be white girl nipples, are they? And I, you know, so from one thing that this idiot told me, then I took that on and it went through my whole body, so that when I saw the parts of my labia were dark, then I was judging myself until I did the mirror work and I told myself the most beautiful things about my pussy. And I literally just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And so when you can do that, then you will be able to receive, because you're not so self-conscious about your pussy, and you just love it, and you're like, yeah, get there. Do you know what I'm saying?
And
Because
mature men are not thinking all the things that we think they're
No.
thinking. They are just obsessed with the moment and your body.
They're honoured.
Yeah.
They're honoured that you're actually allowing them to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish women just really knew that.
Yeah.
You know, and if there is a guy that you happen to come across that is not, well, then that's obviously a huge flag to block his ass. But we're just going on the precipice that you have beautiful partners that are just waiting for you to open up.
Yeah.
And they're just wanting you. They just want everything about you. And our goal, ladies, is literally just to open our hearts and our legs.
Yeah. And they pick up on your, the more you fall in love with yourself, the more they will be captivated and magnetized to you. And so that's why it starts with the inner work.
Oh, yes. Like even walking to a coffee shop, I walk like I am doing a catwalk for being a supermodel. That's just how I carry myself, because that's just who I am. And it's like the words I would tell myself. So this is an exercise I can get you to do, is when you go, well, how can I feel sexy? How can I be that? I'm overweight. Like, I'm being straight up. I'm probably about, 10, 15 kilos overweight. I've never cared about that. I've just always owned myself that I'm a supermodel. Mm-hmm. My kind of supermodel. And so I don't judge myself in that aspect. Yeah. These are obviously things that
I find interesting, and I'm actually thinking of someone in my life that I presently know who's actually physically beautiful, but her energy right now and what she's going through is very dark.
Yeah.
And just talking about dating and things like that as a prospect, when I even look through the last couple of years for me, and the more I've come into my confidence and the more sexy I've felt, the more free in my spirit, it's interesting that the times that I feel that energy oozing from me, I have been stopped in shopping centres to ask, if I'll go on a date and if they can get my number. And then there's been times where I know that I'm closed off because I'm stressed, I'm in mum mode or whatever, and no one stops me. Like it's that your spirit, the energy of you is what a man is drawn to, not the perfect hair, the perfect butt, the perfect vagina, the perfect boobs. It is the energy you emit. You could actually be the most beautiful supermodel in the world, but if you're a bitch, a man is over it in 2 seconds.
I mean, you'll be takeaway food, but it won't be.
But you won't be the person that he wants to grow intimacy with.
You're not your Sunday roast.
Yeah.
So be someone's Sunday roast. And I just think, so what you do with that is get very for me, when I started to always think like that, is I honestly don't remember a time, but is the words that how I see myself. So the 3 words I would see myself as sexy. My passwords for some of my things was sexy beast. And that was probably one of the main words. And then people, when writing on social media or even messaging me, would always refer to me as sexy mama. And I'm like, I've never told them that word. That's just something
you do radiate sexy energy. I'll have to say.
But that wasn't something I told someone. That was just like, you know what, this is who you are, Patty. This is the energy that you will be, and whatever that word is for you, then just start to
And there's a space where you can write your I am statements that you want to cultivate and meditate on. And if you guys, we did this beautiful manifestation meditation in terms of our energy and our aura last week. And this is where you can on the daily,
Yeah.
because I have to say, like, Monday to Wednesday for me is a shit show. I'm doing business and babies on my own.
Yeah.
And it's fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Tuesday night team training is actually, I get off that call and I love being on it, but the mum guilt because my kids are feeding themselves, and you know, so I'm down in the gutter sometimes too.
Yeah.
And come Wednesday evenings is where my partner comes over and we have kid free time. I have to set aside we have a really fun Wednesdays. But it's like I have to consciously take an hour before I know he's coming to shake that shit off, because it is not sexy. Uptight mum mode is not enjoyable for me. I don't feel sexy, and I'm sure that it's not going to be enticing to him. And so it's not to say that he doesn't see me in those states or that he doesn't love me unconditionally when I'm in them. It's the consciousness I bring to free myself and come back to my most radiant energy when it serves me most. And that's things that you've taught me in music, dancing, flowing clothes. I put sexier clothes on, like things that I've got this beautiful goddess white robe right now, which is just so feminine. You know, just lighting incense, just taking a few deep breaths and thinking about the new energy space I'm going to step into.
And that's when it comes to the outcome that you want. So for me, when I remember, I just do 3 deep, I call them pussy breaths. So I literally bring the breath up from here, from your womb space, or your pussy breath, and then you just bring it up, and then I let out this noise. I literally go, do the, and I just do 3 of those before I need to do what I need to do. And then I can do it in the car. I can do, you know, before I'm on my computer, or even before I see my lover. It's just like, what the outcome is, how do I want to feel? I want to feel his every touch. I want to be connected to myself. I want to feel like grounded. So for me, you need to know what sort of lights you up. So for me, putting my feet into the beach, jumping into the cold water at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that lights me up. I feel crazy doing it, but I do love doing it.
Sometimes coffee catch-ups with other girlfriends is a way to come back into your feminine radiant energy, especially women, you know, who are bubbly and energetic and light in their being. And
then taking that intention to have those heart conversations with your girlfriends. So because it's a practice run, because it's normally the hardest one is going to be with your lover. So if you can actually practice having real conversations with your girlfriend, don't talk about the weather, don't talk about that shit C word, don't talk about any of that. Talk about how you're feeling right now, like what's going on for you, like what could your friend do, you know, how can you actually ask for help? Because we don't ask for help as women. And by actually practicing with your friends, then you can take it, if you're a little bit scared to do it with your lover, then it can get into that practice. And you'll know the friends that you can go to, not to dump on them, but to practice, like making requests and having those real conversations, you know, real heart conversations,
and cultivating it. If you don't feel like you have those women, you know, attracting those kind of women in, those conversations with that you feel lighter when you leave.
And to me, if you don't have those friends, then so if you feel heavy after you've had a friend, I would not see them that much. But just send a SOS out to one of your friends. That's what I say to all my friends, because I'm a busy person, but if someone sends me an SOS, I'm like, I got you, where you at? And then I'm off. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. There's a great question here. When I'm stressed, my husband always suggests sex, because that's how he de-stresses, and satisfying you, which is beautiful that he is willing to serve. But I find it's the thing I don't feel like doing, as I'm not in the right headspace. Okay, so what this is when you're stressed, as I've said, we've spoken about this, your oxytocin levels have plummeted, and you need high levels in order to feel that you are in a sexual mood. And you know, I don't know what the word is, whether it's the oxymoron or whatever that word is, but on the flip side, when you do get to climax, that will also help to decrease your stress levels. So yes, it is a solution, but it's getting yourself from A to B for you to actually be in the mood. And it is doing those oxytocin building strategies and giving him those strategies, running the bath for you. That non-sexual touch, telling you you're beautiful, noticing you, giving you a chance to just talk about your day. It's those simple things, but it's a commitment together. So Danny and I openly talk about these things that we're discussing right now. He is learning to understand how a woman works and what she needs, and I'm learning the same in reverse for him in terms of because women are so much more expressive and men find that so
Yeah.
intimidating. I'm learning how to better communicate my emotions
So you can hear it
and not dump them on
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So we're equally committed to this learning,
Yeah.
and we're both blowing our own minds and each other's minds along the way. And it's so connective and beautiful. And your partner will be receptive to this when he understands that your ultimate goal is to be your happiest version, which is his highest purpose in life, and to build connection.
Yeah. So I would go back to that conversation, Fiona, and I would say to him, because this is practicing your heart conversations, would be, you know what, I really thought about what you said about having sex when I'm stressed, and I'm totally up for it. However, I need help to get there. And so this is what I've suggested. And you start, like, Google like how to do connection exercise. So for me, if a man put on a song and he just held me and we did a nice slow dance, and can I get you to stand up? Yes. I'll be the man. And so, like, if he held me, Hannah, it's hard to be the man because I'm trying to think where. So that's the woman. So okay. So for a guy to obviously can see me. So if we play the song, and if he just took my hand, which is on the back there, and he just held me and put me like that, and like put his other hand here, and he just moved me. And then he would even gather my hand and put it there on the back of his neck, and then the other one on the back of my neck. And then he would grab your head, so we're going to crouch so they can see, and then put it on your shoulder. And so, like, I'm going to get you to do that. So, right? And
I'm feeling very held right now.
And so if you play a song, and if you're just held like this, and then he even moves his hips as well, like, you know, you do the figure 8 and you dance beautifully to the song, what it's showing, you can have a seat now, by just doing a simple dance of being held together, because women just love to be held.
We do that a lot, actually.
Yeah. But it's the movement of his hand is on the back of your back, and he's literally grabbed your hands and put them around his neck, and then he's got the back of your neck like you would hold a baby. Yeah. So basically he's your support system, and he's holding you. But you need to train it. You need to show him this, because what you said before, like, we can't be doing that. Well, he should know this. Well, you didn't know that. Yeah. So then how is he supposed to know this? Yeah. And so that's why the first heart conversation would be, I want our relationship, our connection, our intimacy to go to the next motherfucking level. Yeah. This is what I'm thinking. What are you up for? And let's explore things together. And so then he will be so excited, because then you'll be both going and finding ways of how to connect. You could do it. It doesn't even have to be in the bedroom. We can be doing, I love hiking. Yeah. Love hiking. So you could be doing hikings, and you can go on picnics. There's so many things you can do as a couple that, you know, to reconnect. And it's just those beautiful, you know, times that you've spent together, and these real conversations. Yeah.
There's, on that note, there's a couple of women, I'll share some tips, and then you share some as well. So I'm not sure if this is relevant to lockdown or just their general living arrangements, that they're in the same house 24/7 and kids often on top of that. This can kill polarity, because being together all the time will lower his testosterone and your oxytocin, and they need to be high in order to have that sexual chemistry. So ways that, especially if you're in lockdown, that you could build polarity and start to raise each other's chemistry would be like, so we have like dance nights. Yeah. So maybe the kids are in bed. We do this with the kids, and then we ship the kids off to bed, and it's just us, and we have a few vodkas or tequila shots. You can leave that out if you want. And, you know, we take turns picking a song, and we start from the 80s music, and we go all the way up, and we dance together, and we sing, and we have fun, and we connect, and there's sexy moments, and there's hilarious moments. And it's just this beautiful, freeing date night in the home. And we've even bought disco lights. Like, when we went into lockdown, we're like, right, this is going next level, let's get disco lights. So, and, you know, and it's something we do as a family, it's something we do as a couple. I would consciously give him, and start by going first, moments that he can get away to some kind of man cave for a good chunk of time, doing whatever he wants, and you can't complain about what that is, as long as it's not something toxic to the relationship. And vice versa, perhaps every couple of nights he can run you a bath.
Yeah.
He can light a candle. Maybe you take turns cooking for each other when the kids are in bed, and you almost create like a serving of each other's needs.
Yeah.
And so you've got to create those moments, because love has to be generated. It doesn't just after the honeymoon phase. Yeah. The honeymoon phase doesn't have to end, and it shouldn't end.
It shouldn't.
Love is supposed to deepen.
Yeah.
But we need to do the actions that generate it.
I agree with all of that. To the bedroom, I would, because when you are living 24/7, the bedroom needs to be sacred.
Oh, that's another tip. Yeah. No family photos in the bedroom. No. The kids shit. I'm like, if I see kids shit on the floor in my bedroom, their clothes, they know that's not cool.
So you have to train your children that you're coming into their bedroom is like, it's a non-negotiable. And if the kids do need to see you, it's a knock on the door and they wait until you say they can come in. Yeah. I would recommend getting a lock on the door, but the way you set up your bedroom, it should be for two things: sleep and sex, and that's it. So if you've got a TV in there, it's probably not the most ideal, but whatever. But I'm just giving you the most ideal situations. The bedroom needs to be set up like it is your workbench, love bench, love my key. You know, like it's going to be all the things just for the two of you. Yeah. And then you'll know that when step into that energy, like, you know, when you've gone into a beautiful home and you step into a room that you love, and you're like, you can just feel it straight away. Yeah. You just drop into it. So create your bedroom where however you want, and get his input. You know, what colors, like go crazy and like set that bedroom.
You know, one thing you can do, one of my friends has done this, and she's definitely a sex kitten. She hasn't said this is why she's done it, but she Instagrams it every now and then, the vibe in her bedroom. Yeah. You can go to Kmart, and we've done this in our kids' bedrooms, not for this reason, obviously. But you can get $10 LED lights. Yeah. But you can choose the colour. So Tiana's always got it on this red glowing, like sexual, and they've put it all around the bed. Yeah. And it just like the bed glows red. It's their vibe. And there's so many things you can do.
You can even put it in the vanity, because most master rooms have got walk-in, you know, bathrooms. So you can even put like the lights on the bottom of the as well. So these,
because women are very sensitive to, and this is one thing, especially I find coming up to my cycle, I become very attuned to my environment. Very much so. It's not that I'm totally, I like some light because I do like to be seen, but I cannot have a light on. So it's setting your room up in a way. Is it candles? Is it a soft glow coming from somewhere? Because these things will take you out of state. If, you know, smells, sight, sounds, light, all of those things.
I don't like lights, like the normal house light. I love candles, but I don't like it dark. I definitely will not have sex in the dark. But that's getting really clear about what you want to experience, and like how to have those conversations and set it up. And also telling the kids that this is when it comes to real heart conversations, is to be able to have those conversations with your children. You don't obviously have to tell them that you're having sex, but you need to tell them that in order for, you know, mum and dad to have a healthy relationship, we need time alone. And so we need to be in our room alone. And it's not that we don't love you any less, but this is just what we need. And you need to teach your kids that.
I actually think love starts with the hierarchy of the king and queen. And that's actually the priority of that dynamic. Because it filters down. It does. Because children who are taught that they're the center of the universe, that's why there's so many narcissists in the world, because they go out into the world and they realize the world actually doesn't revolve around them.
It's you and him.
It's you and him. And it is so healthy to model healthy affection. Your children should see you play and kiss and cuddle, you know, obviously to an appropriate level for the children, but it's so important that they see you engage in that.
And that's why, like, I know I've spoken to so many parents about it, and I see them cringe, because it's obviously how they were brought up, that, you know, sex is taboo. And then a lot of people have gone to the other end of the pendulum where they've just got everything out. So just bring it back to whatever you need for your family, creating that ideal family unit. But your children need to know that you and your man need to have this time alone. Please do not disturb. And that even goes for toddlers. And you need to teach them from a young age. I would put a lock. I mean,
you need locks on your bedroom.
Locks. And then most kids
they're easy to install.
Most kids will bang on the door until you answer, but then that comes back to like, hey, that's disrespecting mine and your dad's time. Don't be doing that. And even if you're renting the house, you can still put locks on there because you can just get someone to fix up the holes when you're done. Like, to me, your relationship is number one. Yeah.
And that can come back to another denial thing with women is when we're not getting our needs met in a relationship. And I can promise you that's a two-way street, right? You both have played into why you're at where you're at, if it's not where you want it to be. Is that we start outsourcing that love and attention and that oxytocin spiking to our kids, and then all of a sudden they're the center of our universe, and then our partners' hearts do close because we're not opening to them. We're not,
or some people give all that attention to friends or even a guy friend, like you can even do friends of the opposite sex, but you've got to be really careful because when you start getting to know someone of the opposite sex as just a friend, you're literally crossing boundaries because intimacy is conversation. So you got to be really mindful of like flip the switch. If your partner was in this situation, would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with them sharing intimate details? I'm like, I know, I fucking wouldn't. So like show the same respect as you want to receive as well. And so just, have those people you can talk to, but just make sure that you're not replacing your husband with these.
You actually just opened up something in my mind I'd be curious on your thoughts on. And this is a values choice, so this is not a judgment, is for me personally, and I have been clear from the beginning in my relationship, we've been very open about this discussion, is porn is a deal breaker to me. Because I believe that's leaking sexual energy out, that when you direct it towards each other can create a very explosive, passionate sex life. And because of the knowledge and research I've done on this, according to my values, obviously, I was able to present information in a way that he was able to receive it, and he was just like, fuck yeah, that sounds good to me, right? But then I need to step into that role of ensuring that I am fulfilling my part of that equation too, because men will outsource if they're not getting what they need in a relationship, right? Because I think a lot of women, one of the reasons they close in a relationship is they and this is a very normal response, is we live in a world where so many of these things are so accessible and so normalized, but it is actually biochemically a normal response for a woman subconsciously to feel not chosen when a man is directing his energy out of the relationship. And when she doesn't feel chosen, she can't be open.
No, she'll shut down. And then, so I'm all about, like, I've had lots of male clients that have had porn addiction. And so in that, what it does, just to give you a brief outlay of what porn addiction does, is it retrains their neural pathways of how to receive pleasure. So psychologically, when they're watching porn, it is called the disassociated state. So they're watching and then they're retraining their brain of how to receive pleasure.
It actually spikes their estrogen too, so it makes them less manly and able to be capable in the bedroom over time.
And then they think that's the only way that they need to connect. And so for when they've got their beautiful woman in front of them, when porn addiction is an addiction, then it can get to the other end of the extremes where they'll have erectile dysfunction, because when a woman's in front of them, they've retrained their brain to have pleasure by the screen. And so when you're in an associated state, so I'm in front of him, they've retrained their brain and they've fucked themselves over. So when I help men get over that, I literally put them on a detox of porn addiction. There are things like, there is beautiful ways you can do, I think it's on the Gaia channel, but if a woman wants to learn how to do lingam massages, which is massaging the cock, and then for a man to learn how to do yoni massages. This is a really good way of intimacy, of like how to really connect. And for a man, if you allow him to actually massage your pussy, so this is your whole body for massage it, there's so much in that. It's not for sex, but it's because your pussy talks, so it tells you when there's pleasure. Her lips literally expand, and for a man to actually understand how it works, then they'll get to even know you even more. So yes, I agree, porn is a killer, but most women, just because they're so tired, they just let it be sourced out. they honestly don't feel like they I know.
We've also been taught that it's such a normal behavior that men just do, and for some couples it works for them, and that's cool if you feel that it's adding value. But once you dive into the deeper layers of it,
and it is cool if people choose to it. But to me, this audience and the people that I look after and the people that you look after, people want to have that next fucking level of connection, and it's like it's having that denial talk and like, what are you sort of settling for? You can't settle. Like if you just want to feel your body, feel that connection with someone, have that all over body, orgasm, you need to do the work and you need to have these real conversations so then you can actually experience that. There's any more with it? I am. Yeah, because he's at home. To me, lockdown has done a lot for people's relationships. So they made it or break
either
it.
way.
Either way. I think we're rounded up. We're going to have a little bit of a...
Well, you finish it up how you want to, whether you want to explain how they can use this worksheet, because I know we didn't get to cover every topic.
Okay. So as we'll say, is the I am statement is just like, how do you want to see yourself? So I said sexy beast, and then I've dropped the beast because I'm in my feminine and I just go sexy. I'm just sexy. My juices ooze sexy. So that's how I saw myself. So whatever you want to feel there, you put that there. And then it's got the central play. We've got intimacy, sexy time. And then over the other side is the self-pleasure and also heart connections. And so we briefly looked at heart connections. So getting really clear about what you want. I always love that Notebook, the Notebook thing at the end, the movie, when they get back together and she had to tell her other man, fiance, she was leaving him, and he's like, what do you want? What do you want? She's like, I don't know. So getting really clear about what you want to experience. And then that's what you'll write in that, and that will take time. That's not just a 1 hour journal session. That's going to be like, I would have it like an aha notebook next to your bed. It's like you'll go, well, what do I want? And then you're like, oh, that's what I want. Like I want him to massage and know how to massage my breasts and
and you can YouTube the yoni massage and all of those things. Like honestly, like put time in together learning. It can be like make it something fun.
Do it together. Definitely do it together. Definitely
and laugh. Like this is something we talk about. It's like laugh at yourself in the like if there's funny noises that you didn't expect, or
she's talking about queefing.
But just like be light-hearted about it. Don't be so uptight
and then if you do feel uptight to it, I always say when I ever have a feeling about anything, I speak to it.
Explore it.
This is what I'm feeling now.
You started at the beginning, when you have those triggers, that is your mirror. Why am I feeling, if you're feeling friction or tension, self-reflect, go within. You don't have to do it in the moment. You might park the thought and revisit. That was curious that I felt this when he did that. What's that about? Because I guarantee you it's probably not even about the moment. It's about something in the past.
And try and do the work on your own before you go and have the conversation, because remember, you're not each other's therapists, you're not each other's rehab. You need to do the work on your own.
And like you said, I just want to reiterate as well, a lot of your beliefs around sex and what's right and wrong and values and what you find disgusting and what you find exciting is indoctrinated in us from religion, from our parents, from so again, get curious. Is this actually my belief that I've chosen because it serves the outcome I want? Or is this some bullshit like structure that has been, placed?
This is how you should be. Like, I mean, I've heard it from even my mum. It's like, don't dress like that, you're asking for it. I mean, everyone's heard that one.
And we hear so many things about women being dirty when they're growing up. And, there's so many, like there's reasons why we might not feel relaxed in our body.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's being really clear about what you want. And then you'll go, how? Or and it may feel like too overwhelming for you because you might not know how to get that. So then, I offer one-on-one coaching. I've got my online program releasing called Pussy Activation. So Google it, talk to someone, but do the research. There's so many good books to read. I think I'd said this the last call, but we didn't record. Read the book Pussy by Mama Gina. It is life-changing. You've read that one,
I've got that one.
Yeah.
The one that I found life-changing is called Biography of the Vagina. That one helped me heal from the birth of Madeline.
Okay, yeah. This one is really about reclaiming your pussy.
Yeah.
So I would suggest reading that. And then how the outcome is how you want to feel. And it's all about feeling, because that's what sex is. It's about feeling, it's about connection, it's about honoring yourself. It's about being in alignment. So if you're this person here, then you need to be in alignment with all other things. And when you're not, have a look at that. The reflections is just what I said to you before, is like, just write down all the things that just may not be working for you, and that you want to work on. Like, for instance, I gave you the example of the color of my pussy. No, I just love all the colors. But does that make sense to you? Yeah. But just be super kind to yourself, and love on yourself. That's
what it comes back to.
Oh yeah.
Kind to yourself and kind to your lover.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually taught me that word, because I was using the word partner when I first partnered with Dan.
Oh,
and it does have kind of
lover.
It's so juicy and
my pussy lips are like clapping together when I say that word, y'all.
Do you know? I want to end on one thing, because I'm really trying to I don't know why, and I've really tried to be curious about it, but I find the P word, I've struggled to even say it.
I do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And not in a bad way. I'm not here feeling triggered by you in a bad way.
Doesn't bother me.
But there is an internal resistance to the word that I've always had, which is obviously a precondition, because I've always had this belief that as a word is a word. Like, why would you choose to be offended?
Well, vagina is just the internal part.
Yeah.
Whereas pussy is everything.
But there's so many words that we grow up with
that
are used in a way that is derogatory.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's us. Like, for me, I'm like, oh, that's curious that I feel that resistance to even saying that word.
Yeah.
And it's I don't feel triggered in like, oh my God, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It's more a self-reflection of that's something I need to work on.
And I do, like, even in my work, I know that I can trigger some people, but that's okay. It's just to activate them to see 100%. What they need to look at. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So Patty apologizes if you feel triggered by that word.
No, I'm not. Yes, oh my God, yes, they've got season 1 and season 2 out, and it's amazing. That is more for self-pleasure. It teaches you how to masturbate, and it literally is interactive. So you'll have the picture of the woman's pussy there, and you actually
Oh wow!
Yeah, it actually teaches you all the, like, how to do edging and all that kind of stuff. So that's really good. The other suggestion that I said was, if you guys could watch the Netflix special, which is called Sex, Love and Goop. So it's and that is a really good thing, because there's exercises for couples there that you can all experience as well. So but just
it's great if you can watch something together, because then his mind is opening and learning without you necessarily saying, you don't spend enough time touching me first.
Just say, I'm curious, I really, really want to watch this, and then they'll go, oh, okay. And what I said about the heart conversation, and this is one of the learning tools. And then you're going to love it. You're going to thank me for it.
Well, ladies, it's such a huge topic. And there's, and I actually just want to wrap up by also saying that if you have got trauma in your past that is preventing you from being able to heal and open up to this part of your life, then make sure you do seek help to heal that. So we actually absolutely have compassion and understanding for why there may be some challenges and hurdles for you, and why you might have some specific boundaries. Or lack of. So it can go both ways. But thank you. We really tried to give as much information.
I know, it's like this. I had to wind it up.
Rabbit holes to go down with this, and there's so much to learn. And just see it as a beautiful self-discovery journey, and it's important when you look at your life and the quadrants of your life that you put just as much energy and emphasis on this part, because the quality of your relationship with yourself and with your lover flows into every area of your life. If you're not open and free within yourself, you will not experience that in any other area. And same with your relationship, the tension you feel there is going to show up in your business and elsewhere. So I
love having chats with you, my love.
I love it too. I love it because you bring the courage and the bravery. In some of it, I'm not willing to go someplace.
She thinks exactly like me, so just so you know.
I think she says it. We're the perfect team.
Left you hanging.
Thanks, everyone. Let us know your feedback. Go and follow Patty. I think you should start sharing some of this stuff on your Instagram stories.
I'm lazy, yeah. Well, the thing is I put my children first. They've been a bit naughty. They're like grown men, and so I've had to. So now that's all come to an end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can start getting back into what I do. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. For
You're
your time.
welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. See you guys next week.